Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My sister said it all. I did not go to Queen's I also did not go to King's College, and I also did not go to Ijanikin. But I had the special pleasure of having known her all my life. So even though she did not teach me or teach any of us in my family, boys, in school, she taught us at home. So just like her children, we have a lot of her in us. I'd like to say on behalf of my parents who can't be here right now, some of my siblings, that we love you, Auntie. God bless you.
Before the mic goes to the MC, I saw somebody walking and I want to put him on the spot. I know he will be cussing me now. He knows himself. Joey Meribe, can you please come forward and say one or two things? We can always settle this when they get out of here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Like you told the Swedish that I'm going to have some Arab. Mrs. Chukuma, Mommy, how are you? Good. Mrs. Chukuma, my recollection, based on my recollection, I think I met you when I was about 2 months old. I don't know whether she visited my parents before this occasion, but I want to say that we met the first time when she held my hand when I was being baptized in the Catholic Church. I would like to tell you all these years, Mommy, you've been a wonderful person to me. But one particular quality of yours that I would like to toss up here again is that I have had to run to you to say I'm in trouble. And whenever I tell you such things, you put up this expression, this face. And I keep asking myself, Mommy, did she really hear what I said? And when I ask her the question, she says to me, so what? And this is me who had committed some big crime in the family, expecting that I'll be crucified. So that made her somebody I could confide in at any point in time without looking back. Mommy, thank you very much. I don't know whether I should launch the book, considering the fact that, Mommy, you and I were together putting this up. But since it's like this, I will ask for your understanding. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I may not be able to see everybody's face. I don't know whether my bank manager is sitting in down here. So I wouldn't like to launch and then have him grab me tomorrow morning to say, come and pay what you owe the bank after the lunch time. Fabian, you defend me. Okay. Mommy, I'll take half of the book for 100,000.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause. Let's appreciate all of the very distinguished, eminent presentations, speeches, and of course, all of the conversations happening in all of the different rows where everyone in this distinguished audience is seated. We've all been so, I won't just use the word touched, but there's been a very significant sense of nostalgia, history, a very, very warm, I don't want to use, it's not so much a sense of pride, but without any question, the pedigree of that which today we're all connecting to and connected with is something that truly speaks for what you call blue blood in the place of all its establishment, status quo, and the expression of community and society. Truly, truly, Mommy, you have translated not just who you are, but who you were born to be, the educationist, into something that is institutional and collateral in every one of us in this room. Whether it's as a professional, whatever your space is right now, my space, somehow or the other, we've all taken on a new language, a new force of communicating and advocating what it means to live a life, not just passionately, but in a way that is passionate, but with a pedigree that truly distinguishes who purpose is. And today that purpose, as translated in this persona, in this woman, in this wife and sweetheart of Charles, and I say that respectfully, in this mother of my other brothers, for whom I stand, one in sweet memorial, one in this place doing an amazing job of which all of us, his sisters, can only celebrate. So please help me appreciate Chukwuka. Chukwuka, we are proud of you. You have honored the bloodline. You have honored and you've given joy. We can see the legacy. We see you and we see legacy. And as your big sisters, we love you. Please celebrate him once again. Say those who have brothers don't bother. But when you have a small brother like this, you are talking big things. No, please once again help me celebrate Chukwuka. Oh, wow. You have done exceeding. And we are all here celebrating because of that right sense of celebration. This kind of celebration is so right. The words that have been expressed here by our distinguished chairman, I thought to myself, what kind of profiling am I supposed to profile and introduce Mommy with? She said, my daughter, when you come tomorrow, you will introduce, what do I have? There's nothing to introduce. That was just a privilege. And honestly, sir, I must say, truly in the spirit of Nigerian Navy, I'm a Navy daughter, truly onward together. Total salute. That was just absolute. In all of its profiling, in all of its expression, again, like I said, I've embraced a new language. And then not to talk about what, Daddy, Mr. Dennis Okoro, I'm calling you Daddy because I can only find that sense of an affectionate reference to you with everything that you communicated. I think for me, already, Yinka said it, this is one, it stands out for me, and I've been at many, I've hosted many, but this absolutely stands out to me as the most admirably researched and presented book presentation, lead book presenter ever. You presented it, and you introduced me to how I'm going to handle my next presentation as a book presenter. Simply as a storyteller. Tell the story, tell it well. Speak it with integrity. Don't pomole, as we say in Yoruba. Don't try and impress anybody. Just express the true content of what you've read. Because all you did, at one point I was wondering, when is the book presentation coming up? And then, what happened? I realized he is reading the book. He read the book. So he's expressing what he read in the book, but experientially, because he now took what he read and he processed it through what he'd heard, through what he'd known. Those handshakes, those queen handshakes. You establish something, it is not everybody shakes the queen. Excuse me, please. Shaking the queen is absolute, total, blue blood, royal pedigree. Oh, I could go on and on and on. And we are going to go on and on because, Mommy, what you've written is legacy. Wherever there are footprints, there are imprints. And imprints have to do not just with impact that happens one time, but impartation that resonates over and over and over again. History is established and history is here. And I was taken to our QCOG song, Pass on the Torch, still so brightly burning. And the beauty of that, it's amazing how you think you remember all the verses, and then I realized I was mixing, it was a mishmash, because I was looking for one verse in particular, and it's the final verse, because for me it says everything. That is the experience here today. And in saying everything, well, I'll come to that because it's taking some time to come up now. So I'll get to it, because going forward from here, I'd like to reintroduce myself, not as an MC, but sincerely just as a very privileged daughter of the house. I was embraced into that position of being a daughter from another mother when I went to do my A-levels at Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos. And I was embraced by Ozege. They used to mix two of us up as the Chukuma. So they would come to me and say, your mommy said, so after a while I stopped saying I'm not her daughter. And I think she got to find out that she had a daughter in school. So Ozege and I became the other daughters, the sisters. And that's how I had the privilege of being, embraced into this family. And I've grown up without a mom since 1973 until then when I got in. And I just found it amazing. Why would they love me? Well, why won't they love me? I'm lovable. But then the truth is, I wasn't the only one. And today I stand here, both for me and also for Yejide Ukurubido, because for two of us, we were embraced so specially into the Chukuma family. And we want to say, God bless you. Thank you very much. So right now, I have just a few more people who we want to invite to come up. QCOG girls, please just get ready, because we're going to do this properly, all together. But look for that last verse. And I'd like, first of all, to invite one of Mommy's distinguished students through the years. She was a student of Mommy at Queen's School, Enugu. Am I correct? Enugu, yes. Dr. Georgia Ngerimwaya. And she has something she has prepared specially by way of honoring and celebrating Mommy today. So please let's have Dr. Ngerimwaya come up. I'm going to be inviting immediately after her Mr. Chidi Anya and also Mrs. Omolara Yulajayi and Mr. Mezo Muneli. So please once again, thank you. Let's come up. And please help me celebrate another distinguished daughter and legacy person.
The chairman, distinguished book reviewer, the very privileged and eminent author of this book, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please don't be scared. I'm not going to do another book review. I just have a little small presentation to make. You heard, or those of you who have read the book, will know that Mrs. Chukuma started her teaching career at Queen's School, Enugu, the school I attended, and a few others are here. This is why I have this privileged position to say these few words. Reading Mrs. Teresa Chukuma's footprints and milestones was a delight. This is because the book is well written, in fluent prose that is engaging and reader-friendly. In fact, I found the book so interesting and captivating that I could not drop it until I finished reading it in a couple of days. This is not surprising, as parts of the book took me back to my early years and evoked in me the fond memories of the wonderful years I spent at Queen's School, Enugu. The minute details of events and activities, such as dates, names, and specific places mentioned in the book, also attest to the sound intellect and sharp memory of the author. I first got acquainted with Mrs. Teresa Chukuma in 1959, when I gained admission into Queen's School, Enugu, which was then the only government girls' secondary school in the eastern part of the country. Even though it was regarded as an elite school, admission was open to all girls from rich or poor background who could pass the entrance examination to the school. However, the school was indeed an elite school in the sense that it was well equipped with excellent academic and building facilities, and a beautifully landscaped school premise with an expansive bed of lily flowers demarcating the administrative building from the classrooms. The students were treated as princesses and trained, but also to comport themselves as ladies. Thus, the young girls who got into Queen's School acquired much more than academic knowledge and were also groomed to be well-mannered, rounded ladies who possessed good table manners, etiquette, as well as cooking and domestic science skills. We were also encouraged to participate in various extracurricular activities such as ballroom dancing, sports, drama, singing, and learning various Nigerian cultural dances. And I recall with pride the many prizes and trophies the school won at the annual Eastern Regional Festival of Arts and at inter-school sports competitions and debates. The school also excelled academically and on several occasions scored 100% success in the West African school examinations. All this was made possible because the school had a wonderful principal and a corps of competent and dedicated teachers who were well equipped and mostly university graduates. Furthermore, in addition to being brilliant teachers in their respective subject areas, some of the female teachers at Queen's School were very elegant, polished, and very good looking. And this made us students to look up to them in great admiration and try to emulate their poise and diction. Mrs. Teresa Chukuma was definitely one of these elegant teachers we admired. Some others were Mrs. Emme Wakamokoro, Mrs. Flora Nzerube Niwapa, Mrs. Maria David Oswago, and Mrs. Rosalind Nunobia Nieronini. It is however noteworthy that in addition to being a fantastic teacher who motivated us, Mrs. Chukuma was also very warm and caring and made herself easily accessible to us for advice and counseling. This encouraged some of us to visit her house at weekends to babysit and play with her beautiful daughter and baby after she was born. Later, I was to discover that Mrs. Chukuma's husband came from the same part of the country as myself, and this endeared me even more to her, and I began to look up to her not just as my teacher, but also as my auntie. Reading through her book, however, has revealed to me so much more of the depth and strength of character of this great lady who taught us in school so many years ago, and my admiration of her has exponentially increased. Just going through all the challenges she confronted in her meritorious and varied career postings is mind-boggling, and they were enough to have stopped most people in their tracks. But it would appear that Mrs. Chukuma devised effective strategies and mechanisms to cope with and overcome all the challenges that came her way, both at work and at the home front. She even overcame, as you heard the book reviewer say, some serious health challenges and continued to excel at the many demanding job positions she was assigned to, while at the same time being a model wife and raising her 6 children to all become successful individuals. The book reviewer has highlighted many of her achievements, but permit me to mention just a few of the key positions she has held with great accomplishment. Mrs. Chukuma has served as principal of the Federal Government College Ijanikin, Lagos, principal of Queen's College, Lagos, and has been the director at the Federal Ministry of Education, chairman of the National Commission for Women. She has also served as chairman of the Joint Consultative Committee on Education, chairman of presidential visitation panels to Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, and University of Ilorin, in addition to serving as a member on numerous other boards, committees, and commissions. She was also one of the first females to attend the prestigious senior executive course at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Kudu, Jos. And finally, she has not only served as Nigeria's Deputy Permanent Delegate to UNESCO in 1971, but was also appointed by UNESCO as an honorary ambassador for the International Literacy Year in 1990. Indeed, Mrs. Chukuma has had a distinguished career, which is worthy of commendation, and her achievements have been monumental. For her meritorious services to her nation, Mrs. Chukuma has received many recognition and awards from various bodies ranging from the government of Imo State, ethnic cultural groups, the National Council on Education, the Joint Consultative Committee on Education, and the West African Examination Council. She is also a worthy inductee of the Nigerian Women Hall of Fame at the National Center for Women Development. Her children have also deservedly awarded her the title of Grandmother of the Year in 1989. And I suspect they will soon give her the award of Mother of the Millennium. Mrs. Teresa Chukuma, in my opinion, rightly deserves all these recognitions and awards, and more. And I'm delighted that she has very well captured her successful story in their book, Footprints and Milestones for Posterity. On a lighter note, I was delighted to discover that I have in common with Mrs. Chukuma a love for travel and to visit different parts of the world. It was impressive that even as a student in England in the 1950s, Mrs. Teresa Chukuma then young Teresa, worked during the holidays to save up funds to enable her travel to various European countries. And she has continued this habit of visiting various countries all through her working life. I share this Ajala spirit, in quote, Ajala, and love for travel with my teacher, because I too believe that the education and exposure one acquires from traveling is priceless. Thanks to Rotary International, an organization to which I belong, and which holds its international conventions in different parts of the world, I have also seized the opportunity of these conventions to visit various countries. Recently, I've also linked up with some childhood friends like Professor Elsie Halliday Okobi, a Queen School old girl based in the US, to go on some cruises and have been privileged to visit some exotic and faraway places like Alaska and Russia. However, it is noteworthy that while some of us are making a big deal about traveling on cruises in recent years, I was amazed to read in her book that Mrs. Chukuma and her husband Charles went on an 8-day cruise along the West African coast to the equator and back as far back as 1968. My auntie is indeed a pioneer and an adventurous woman of substance, which she was way ahead of her time. Let me conclude by stating that legacy, according to Peter Scofield, is not leaving something behind for people, as we often tend to believe. Rather, it is leaving something in people. In this regard, it is my humble opinion that in the many challenging job situations and pioneering roles she has played as a teacher, school administrator, and civil servant, and in the community services she has rendered, Mrs. Chukuma has indeed not only left behind an indelible record of success, but also a sound legacy in the lives of the numerous young girls and boys, as well as colleagues, staff, and members of the society she has interacted with. Above all, I am proud to testify that I'm one of those whose life has been positively touched and impacted upon by Mrs. Teresa Chukuma. And I wish to seize this opportunity to say thank you, Auntie, because I find you a very worthy role model, and to wish you a long and healthy and fulfilling life. Thank you very much. Before I leave, I want to read a message from one of Auntie's sons. His name is Architect Hakot Aduke, who unfortunately could not come here. And he sends me this message to give to my auntie. Please give my warmest congratulations to Mrs. Teresa Chukuma. She has been my sister-in-law and mother, a fantastic woman who diligently did her work the way the old civil service was set up to do, expecting no reward. Best of all, she brought us all up, and so many other children. And I'm proud of her, and I love her always. I would like to buy 5 copies of her book for the sum of 500,000 naira.
The message well received indeed. Another round of applause, please. Let's appreciate Dr. Georgia Ngerinwala. Thank you very much, ma'am. And yeah, it was an extended carpe diem, as you said, seizing the moment. But then I thought to myself, because yes, I'm known to do what I was doing, and I said, it's a blessing that you're alive to hear it. Because if you weren't, they would say it, but your ears would be too not here to hear. So I said, Dio, let mommy hear. And I know that as we have heard along with her, we are also grateful that the words we speak today, apples of gold in pictures of silver, are words she's here to hear, and we, alive with her, can celebrate with and for her. Another round of applause. Thank you. Mr. Chilianya, please. Let's appreciate him as he comes out. Like she said, many of us are not just models, we become supermodels doing what we do by the grace of God. And I say that not because of the looks, but because of the kind of privileged commendations we get. And for that, I remain grateful, more grateful so, however, is this. In everything that I've come up with, I found out I want to die a teacher. Sincerely, not as a joke. I pray, Mommy, that one day it will be my testimony. Amen. Sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Uncle Dennis, where do I start? Do I call you mom or do I call you auntie? Good. It is immense privilege for me to stand here. I think when Fabian called me, in the spirit, he probably knew that my mother went to Queen's School in Enugu. That perhaps was my sin. Then as we went on, I discovered my sin was also I was a child of teachers. So perhaps I'm obligated to honor a teacher, particularly one that is held in such high esteem. All I can say, publicly, I never watched a book. But I'll take 3 copies of this book and Ugoma knows she'll get her money. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. Like I said, there's so much nostalgia here. What do you call her? What reference do you make? Every reference is special. Mrs. Omolara Hula Ajayi, retired principal of Queen's College. Up QC.
The chairman, the distinguished book reviewer, Daddy Dennis, and the great Mother Teresa. A mother indeed. Mother Teresa has always been an inspiration to us all at the Federal Ministry of Education. She's always been a woman of great humility, great courage, great esteem and dedication. And most of all, we've always admired something which nobody has mentioned, her beauty. I've always called her Mommy Black Beauty. But in spite of it all, she's so humble, so loving. And I have had cause to work with her a number of times. When she was chairman, JCC and NCE, I was the secretary, JCC and NCE. And that was a privilege for me to work closely with her. And moving close to her, I discovered that she was full of this motherly love. She loves people. And she was always ready to put you through. She was always accessible, always ready to teach. She is a teacher of teachers. And when I learned that in spite of all this dedication and commitment and all her achievements in education, that she has 6 children, I said, oh, I have somebody I can identify with. Who will not tell me I have too many children, because I have 6 too. So I've always learned from her, how have you been coping? How have you done it in spite of your dedication? Mother Teresa, we celebrate you. You are a mother of mothers, a teacher of teachers. And I also had the privilege of being posted or appointed as principal Queen's College long after she left. So occasionally I used to phone, "Mommy, how did you cope with this situation?" And she would say, "Oh, don't worry." You know, she gave a very simple answer to every bothering question. That's her. She never took anything too, you know, as if it's invincible. No, she is a mother indeed. We celebrate you today, and Mother Teresa, we know that even in old age, you will continue to be fruitful, and you will continue to pass on the torch in the mighty name of Jesus. And standing here, not just on behalf of myself and my husband, well, that's number one. We are going to launch the book with 50,000 naira, 2 copies of the book. I have the teacher's voice, don't worry. And on behalf of the Association of Retired Senior Officers of Federal Ministry of Education, I'm launching the book with 100,000 naira for 10 copies. Because as we sit here, I've been sending video clips to the platform of the Association of Retired Senior Officers, and they've been so excited about it. Congratulations once again. God bless you. And God bless you, the children who have put this together. May your children too rise up and call you blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you very much, Mrs. Omolara Yula Ajayi. And I just thought when the prayer went forth for the children that, what's that song with all those, "Oh mommy shoriri, tiatarao, oh mommy bo te mi tiatarao." Well, it's a generational blessing. That's the impartation, and all of us are part of it too. And not just part of it, but partakers with that blessing. You know, talking about former school principals at Queen's College, after her time at Queen's College, she didn't give her immediate next school principal a soft landing, because everybody was now comparing everything about one with her. But I want to stand here and defend CAF. Yeah, CAFI. Because eventually, when I did get to engage school principal, Mrs. Kafaru, she ended up being someone who had her own style, but certainly had a heart for Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos. Please help us celebrate the whole pedigree of past having served school principals of Queen's College. Please, once again, we appreciate you and celebrate you. Thank you. Mr. Mezo Uneli, please. And after him, I will be inviting the student who became a lover of geography, ex-QC, ex-Queen School Enugu, yes, the wife of our book reviewer, Mrs. Ellie Okoro. So please, Mezo, over to you.
Auntie Mommy, and my favorite for today, Mother Teresa. I've really been inspired by the discussion this morning. I'm a friend of your son's going back probably 20 years. I think what is very clear is the legacy you've left in the lives of many of us in this room and also in your children. And it's something you should be very proud of, because the way, even the depth of friendship your children have with each of their friends is immense. And I would like, no many words, it's been a long morning, but I would like to contribute and donate 200,000 to the book launch for a couple of copies.
Yes, indeed. They are great friends, mothers, sisters and brothers from one mother, and all of us have become one family. So I'm now inviting to please come up stage Mrs. Ellie Okoro. Thank you. Please celebrate her.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Okoro, book reviewer, may I observe the existing protocol? On a day like this, I get very emotional in the sense that Auntie Teresa Chukuma has played a very big role in my life. She's been my mentor. I met her first in 1960 at Queen's Enugu. She was my geography teacher. She taught me geography in Form 4 and Form 5. In 1960, the year of our independence, we had mostly white teachers from England and Canada. She was one of the first indigenous Nigerian graduate teachers to teach in Queen's School. The way she taught geography and her beauty inspired me. Half of the time, instead of drawing my maps, I'm admiring Mrs. Chukuma. You see, I said I get very emotional today. Her photograph on that book brings back memories. That's the memory of Mrs. Chukuma in 1960. Very beautiful black lady. We always struggle to go and carry her books when she's coming to teach us. We will all run to help her with her books. I said she inspired me. She made me offer geography at school cert, and I had a distinction in geography, A1. You can check it out. The certificate is still there. Yes, both in my iPad and the hard copy. She encouraged me to go to Queen's College to do my higher school. I also offered geography there. After that, she encouraged me to go to University of Ibadan, where I read geography for my first degree, yes. And after that, I joined the services of Queen's College. I taught in Queen's College. And then Federal Ministry of Education. I was a member of staff there. And in fact, eventually, we are next door neighbors in Polo Road, Ikoyi. So all my life, Mrs. Chukuma has been there for me, advising me, even when I took a hard decision to leave the Federal Ministry of Education proper to go and start off at the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board in 1979, which was a new parastatal. And we had to fashion out how to start doing things manually, the large population of candidates and so on. Mrs. Chukuma was there to advise me, say, go ahead, go. And I was running away from my husband, who was at the Federal Ministry of Education. Our rooms were next door to each other. It wasn't very healthy. So I had a way of running to Mrs. Chukuma to seek for advice. Should I do this? Should I do that? So she's been a mother to me. I don't have to say much more. The book reviewer has said it all. Georgiana Ngeri, who was a year my junior at Queen's Enugu, she has also said it all. My task is just to say, Auntie, thank you. Jide Keiji, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ellie Okoro. Thank you for the words. Thank you for the very well rendered expressions. You know, there's something beyond just being emotional, but being emotionally intelligent. There's a way in which you communicate without question. I have what, without question, is a request of first protocols. For some reason, there's something about this 58th independence anniversary that, for me, is significant. It's not as if it's something I see out there. It's something I see in me and I've embraced. And I was moved to sit down and write out 58 reasons why I celebrate Nigeria at 58. Two of those reasons came up somewhere in the 50-somethings. One was to celebrate the Nigerian teachers for everything they do and for who they are. And another one that came at 56 was to celebrate living matriarchs. And I made a special mention of historian emeritus, Mommy Professor Bolanle Awe of the University of Ibadan. But after coming in here, I realized you have more. And then I was still talking about Mommy, and another distinguished emeritus living lady matriarch walked in. And right now, by the nudgings of Mommy, I am so blessed and privileged, not just to honor the fact that she's here, but she will say something to this event. I'd like all of us to please celebrate Lady Mommy Ibanifo. Thank you very much. Please honor her. We need to bring the microphone to her. She doesn't need to stand, but I think we can all stand and celebrate her and then sit down, just in honor. Thank you very much, Mommy. We honor you. We celebrate you. You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be given the opportunity to say a few words. And this is not the reason of my sister. I'm so happy because it is good that Teresa is being celebrated while she's alive. It's much, we should do this more often to celebrate our eminent citizens, especially our women who have shown love, dedication, commitment, not only good wives, good mothers, but excellent citizens. My sister Teresa, I'm very proud of her. And I say thank you to all of you who have come here to join the children to celebrate her. She is worthy of everything you have said. And I'm grateful to the people here to this engagement. And all the wonderful people who have spoken about my sister. She is all you said and more. And she is a wonderful role model. She is a wonderful, excellent person for us to celebrate in Nigeria, not just only as an eminent successful teacher, principal, vice chancellor. There is no post that my sister has not held properly. When she was sent to Paris, I was in the Ministry of Establishment. And because of the horrible laws we had at that time, she couldn't get some allowances that she was entitled if she was a man. Even when she left Paris, a young man who was not married took the job. And so as to collect the allowances, he swore an affidavit that he was married. But my sister, while she was there, never collected those, but we went to council and got a successful application. Teresa is a very dedicated mother, a committed Christian, a humble individual, a charitable woman of love. Because she had a happy childhood, she's made her life happy. And she achieves and spreads happiness and joy wherever she goes to. She's a very dedicated person and an innovator. Wherever she goes to, she leaves her footprints because she makes excellent ideas. She changes, not go to police college, but we've never had any principal as devoted and committed as she was. And we thank her. So, I thank the children for taking this opportunity to arrange this inauguration. And I thank all the people, the chairman, the viewer, Denny, and all other young people. I'm so proud to hear them calling her mommy, because they really mean it in the sense of being a mother. And I pray that Teresa will continue to live for another 10 years or more, in Jesus' name. On behalf of my family, I donate 100,000 naira. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please, another round of applause. My apology that I missed just at that point. Slightly distracted, but without any question. What Lady Manifold has shared with us is an expression of what it means to translate motherhood to, you know, there are so many words coming to mind. Let me just put it this way, it's a sentence. Those who have mothers will do more than others. So really, in that expression and context, in celebrating everyone and appreciating us, because we call mommy, mommy, we call her mommy and we celebrate her along with her, because as mothers, truly, they have raised a generation that can call them blessed. And we appreciate you once again. Thank you very much, ma'am. We have another contribution from Ijanikin, Chukuma.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will make it so brief. Mommy, I'm so glad I was able to make here today. A few things almost made it impossible because of work and other things. When I booked my flight from Abuja, I decided to take a 7 a.m. flight. And as I got to the airport, they announced that the flight was delayed by 1.5 hours. I didn't know what to do. I almost fainted. I said, I must meet this event. I'm glad I'm here. I have known mommy for about 22 years. Not as a student, not as anybody who worked with her anywhere, but as a mommy. The truth is that I have 3 mommies. My biological mother who is alive, my mother-in-law, and this is my mommy. My wife says, anyway, I introduced you to mommy, but you have taken her away from me. She is just nothing but love, love and love. One of the reasons I came is that I saw her in April last year in New Jersey, in her daughter's place. And in fact, I think last week my wife saw you also in the US, and I had to come, and I will still go back today. I want to congratulate you. I can only pray that God will continue to keep you and keep you in good health so that you continue to increase in age more and more gracefully in Jesus' name. Thank you. I'm actually going to just give this one. I knew when this book thing started. You reviewed part of it in my house, and just 100,000 naira. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And we don't just call your contribution just an honest 100,000 naira, not something that has been rubbed off a system. It's much more than just. It is truly just. So let's put our hands together and appreciate 100,000, 50,000, however your thousands are, please. You may not announce them today, you may not have it here right now, but there is a pledge form. There is something you can do and something more if you want to that can always be done, because without any question, this is more or less a foundation of trust that is being set up while you are yet living. Praise the Lord. For me, that is just the awesome blessing, like Mommy Lady Mbanefo has said. That is the real blessing. And I'd like to appreciate with you your distinguished company of sisters who are here, and mothers, Mrs. Abba Folawiyo, Mrs. Dora Mbanefo, Miss Molara Otuyelu, who went to St. Anne's School Ibadan, but knows Mrs. Chukuma from friends in Queen's College. Please let's appreciate all of the distinguished company of women, of mothers, of forerunners in all of their own distinguished spaces of influence and change. And like we had announced already, please, the pledge forms are available. We invite you please to go ahead and put out your pledges. Make sure you get something, a book or some much more than a book. Make a commitment to making more special things like this happen, not just in the life of mommy, but in a mother around you. Find one and let's celebrate them. And invite us and we will come. Yes, indeed, coming from Abuja had its own challenges, but I'm so glad I'm here. For some reason, mommy thought maybe it would be too much trouble. May it never be too much trouble. And I'd like to say on behalf of all of us who are, wherever we are, diasporally, in the Federal Capital Territory, all over Nigeria, we are doing another launch. We can't relaunch, but another launch, the Abuja launch. And I believe that we should do it at the Women's Center Hall of Fame, where you were the first distinguished inductee. And that is where our collateral comes in, both in terms of not just being a voice. I'm happy to present to everyone. I'm an entrepreneur, and we have the media, the communications, the full outfit, and with the right network of my OGQC girls, Ijanikin, please, we should all remember that, you know, the thing is you should boast louder, own your bragging rights, because you see, we are just taking her to ourselves. The KC boys who are trying, they can try. So Ijanikin, you need to let us know. We all need to hear more. So the truth of the matter is we've started hearing and we will hear more, and I believe we need to amplify it and establish it within context. And amen, the Lord upholding us. For me, let that be my own contribution with a whole network of sisters and daughters and sons from other mothers in Abuja. I've said it to Chukwuka, and by the grace of God, it will happen sooner than later. Having said that, I would now, at this point, we're going to be inviting mommy for her vote of thanks, but just before we do that, please excuse me, we just have to own the moment. OGQCs, could you please rise? You can join us, but you have to sing the school song. I just got this from the audience. I don't know that I know fully, I believe that I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this because I think within the context of everyone who's here, everyone is committed to giving and making their contribution properly. Thank you very much. So I'd like us all to please together, we'll take the first, and I'll just read out what was so touching about the last verse to me. Pass on the torch, the cry inspiring, unites us here in hopes untiring. In bonds no future years can sever, we forward press, not backward turning, that this our torch, more brightly burning, may yet pass on and on forever. So we start with pass on the torch. Pass on the torch, still brightly gleaming, pass on the hopes, the earnest dreaming, to those who follow close at hand. Pass on the thoughts, the skills, the learning, Pass on the secret inmost yearning, that they may build where we have planned. Thank you. Indeed, building where we have planned and building dreams into structures that impact our nation and global society. Thank you very much. Mommy, it's not just the floor, but the legacy of eternity. And that which you leave with us today are words that will be engrafted in our hearts and in our lives forevermore. The microphone.
I don't know where to start because I am too overwhelmed. You know, to start with, I didn't expect so many people, and some of you I have not seen maybe for over 10 years, and you're all here today to honor me, only me. I'm so glad.
You don't have a problem.
I'd like to thank God for making this possible. Because when my children kept saying, all this story you've been telling us, why don't you write it down? And I said, what will I write? I don't have anything to write. He said, no, you tell us a lot of stories, so you can write them down. I said, to tell people that I'm a teacher, or I was a teacher, which one? But they kept insisting, you know. Especially my son who passed a few years ago, Bruce, known by his admirers as Charles B. He kept insisting, you know, Mommy, write. I said, I don't have any money to print any book. He said, I will pay for it. Unfortunately, he's not here today to see the book ready. But hopefully, all my children, because it's not only the 6 biological children, most of you here are my children. And you will all read them. I'm happy that I was able to sit down and write the book and to present it to you so that you people can share in my experiences. I remember some of my grandchildren when I was telling them about the part I played as Snow White. They looked at me. Grandma, but you're so black. How can you be Snow White? You know? So I had to explain. I said, listen, in that school we were all Nigerian children. So we were all black. They had to select somebody who could sing the songs of Snow White and memorize all that Snow White had to say in 1.5 hours show, you know. So they then said, okay. But they never forgot it. They kept saying, Grandpa Snow White. You know? So I'm so glad that I was able to put all those things down. And all I now, and so many people have spoken so much about the book and about me, all I need to say now is thank you to the chairman of the occasion, whom I only called up a few days to say, you are going to be the chairman. And to Dennis, who accepted within a few days to be the reviewer, you know. And then for many of you, even the invitations came late. So all I need to say is thank you. And since last week I've been talking and talking, I'm even losing my voice now. So I'm so happy to see all of you. God bless you for coming. And look at all my old colleagues. All of them are here.
A delegation to Sweden. Obviously, we had no money. Pocket monies of students could not do it. So I decided then as the regional director to start writing. I wrote to the Ministry of Education, I wrote to the Ministry of Health, I wrote to External Affairs, and then the Minister of Education at that time minuted my letter to a director. I think Mrs. Chukuma was in charge of scholarship or something. I can't remember quite precisely. But basically, when I went to her, she looked at me and said, "Oh man, what have you come to do?" And I explained it. She said, "Look, we don't have budget for things like this." I said, "Ma, just please help, because there are 108 countries that will be represented, and it will be so unfair if Nigeria will not be represented." Suffice it to say that Mrs. Chukuma made sure that the Nigerian medical students did attend in Sweden, all because she was compassionate. I'm sure that even though it was not a medical, it was not in the medical ministry that I met her, she was compassionate as a mother and encouraged us to attend that conference. I'm very delighted that it was only just last Saturday that I again ran into her in a function, and she mentioned to me that there will be this book launch, and I thought it's important that I identify with her successes. Obviously, to be principal of Queen's College, Lagos, it means that you obviously are mother to very many mothers. I've listened to a little bit about what your grandchildren said. All I can add is may the good Lord continue to keep you, give you very many more years, and perhaps you can write another book and I will attend in good time. Thank you very much. I will support the book launch and I will confer with those who are organizing it to make my contribution. Thank you very much and God bless you. Thank you.
Sorry, you know, I think, what do you think is not right? Are we ready? Celebrating a matriarch, a living matriarch, teacher who through hard work, discipline and humility found herself on the world stage and now globally online. Okay, let's move in the opposite direction altogether. Let's put our hands together and I'll simply take it. Celebrating 86, that is 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 80. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. And may the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord, may the good Lord, may the good Lord bless you more. Because you're obviously blessed. Amen. So requesting all of the celebrating company of mummies to please join Mommy. Lady Mbane for leading without question.
Okay.
Yes, they inspired me. They kept urging me. So I decided to start putting down, some of the stories. I said, okay, if I'm to write about, to write a book, I will start from when I was born until the present. So that's how I sat down, started writing.
How's it been so far? Years of achievement and going all around. How's it been until now?
It's been hectic, but very interesting. When I entered into the profession of teaching, the different type of children I teach from year to year, they themselves made my life rich because they inspired me, and I wanted to continue, to continue teaching and doing the work. So all those things just kept me going over the years.
So what's your advice to future generations, so ladies, young ones?
For future generation, irrespective of what they want to do, the first thing I tell them is that they should work hard. Hard work does not kill anybody. Actually, laziness is what kills. So if they are working hard and are sincere in what they are doing, they reap the reward later. Also, a lot of young people should consider going into teaching because we lack teachers. And without teachers, we cannot have doctors, we can't have engineers, we can't have lawyers, so we need teachers. So more young people should consider teaching. And for teaching, they can teach in any field, whether medical, engineering, law, they can teach in any field. So it's good to have good teachers to guide the future generation.
Trying as well to raise their home. As you so far you did it successfully. What advice do you have for them?
First of all, is to hold on to their God, okay? They have to have faith in God, and then they should not be too ambitious. They can do their work and they can take care of their family. They cannot neglect any. You can't neglect your family because you're working, or neglect your job because you have a family. So they should learn how to strike a balance so that both sides, would be successful. Actually, for women, God gave us a lot of gifts. God gave us inner strength that helps women to do many things at the same time, more than men. A woman can cook, be in the kitchen, can take care of the children, and at times take care of the husband, who is like one of the children again. So it is important, for young people to learn to balance life, to learn to share their time, because the children must not suffer because they are working. If you think you cannot cope with both sides, it's better that you leave one side and just face the other. That's my advice.
What was the challenge?
The challenges in writing the book is, if you don't keep a daily diary, it's difficult to recall a lot of things. But fortunately, I think God gave me a sort of brain that recalls a lot of things. And because if you heard during this thing, I wanted to be a photographer. I love taking photographs and I love photography. So anywhere I go, I carry camera. When I was a student, anything happening, I just take the picture. So all these pictures you see, many of them I took. So when I was now going to write the book, I said, where will I get pictures to support what I'm writing? I then started bringing out cartons of pictures that I had stored, sorted them out, tried to put them together, and then, now putting the words and the pictures. That's how I eventually succeeded in writing.
It took me like 4 years, because at times for 6 months, I wouldn't even look at the book I've been doing it. And then suddenly I said, that book has been so
never go to school. That's how. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. That is
That is a tough question. The special thing about my mom, there's too many to name. One thing I would say is as much as she's excellent at vlogging, she vlogged us a lot when we were younger, she's very kind-hearted. She's very, very kind-hearted. She said one thing. Well, I think that after you've worked your life like she has, given the path that she's gone on, she just felt that there was a need to tell her story. And it's a very unique story, having been the first woman of many things. So first woman, for instance, from a village to go to Scotland, was abroad to do a master's in the 50s. She's back to she's done so many different things. And so it was important today to celebrate her with the book, Footprints of Milestones, and essentially get a better sense of her depths and her multi-layers. And as we saw from like the videos, we got, she has 7 children, 19 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. They're littered all across the globe. So we had videos that poured in from Canada, from Cotonou, from different parts of the US. And I think that side of her is one side because she's also a mother to all the schools that she's taught at, right? She taught at King's College, Ijanikin. She actually built Ijanikin, was the founding principal of Ijanikin, but also reschooling in like the late 50s. So with that, tapestry of experience and all the stuff that she's done, it would make sense that we celebrate her at a time like this across all these different sides of her. That's an excellent question because you need to be married to a very, very special man. As a woman that is a good. My father's a very loving man, very understanding and encouraging, as I do now with my wife. I learned that from feminists, I like to say that. I learned that from my father because when you're with these very powerful women, as they grow in their career, a lot of careers are shortcut by the fact that they don't have someone to their spouses, right? And sometimes vice versa. Also, when the woman is the one that is in the public domain. My dad made a name for himself in his own right, but in a very different sphere. And so, having a husband like Teresa Chukuma, who basically passed away almost 25 years ago, is a very good partner to have because that's the sort of person that will encourage you along your journey of life and essentially hold down the fort when you do have to make those crazy choices. My name is Chukuma. The last no, my name, 5 generations ago, was actually the W was taken out. And I think part of the reason for that, we wanted to be unique. So if you Google us, do Chukuma,